Hey guys, Snoozy here. Today we're going to be playing Project D2. So if you're looking for a D2R Diablo 2 Resurrected guide, this ain't it. This is for Project D2. It's a private server for Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. So please make sure you're playing the right version of the game before you refer to this guide. This is going to be a Phoenix Strike Assassin. This is not going to be in endgame gear. This is going to be gear that I have on day 3 of Season 6 ladder. So this is not the end game gear. This is just what I'm using with some magic finds set up for those of you that are maybe looking for like an early to mid game Phoenix Strike setup. It works pretty good. I'm not having any problems in tier 1 maps, and mostly I'm just farming in Arcane Sanctuary and just cruising around there. So first off, we're going to get right into the stats of the build here. We are going to be using a Storm Shield for the defenses, so you're going to want at least 156 strength here. For the dexterity, you're going to want enough to wear enough equipment, and then you're going to have to make a decision here. Do you want max block, or do you want more health? Also keep in mind that dexterity is going to give you attack rating, so as you can see for the summoner, I have a 95% hit chance to hit. You can make up your attack rating in the skill points section if you really need to, but you're going to want to keep an eye on this. As you'll notice, I don't have max block. My recommendation is max block. Currently, I'm out of respecs, so I haven't fixed this, and I really don't feel like doing it for 14% block. So as I level up, I'm just going to put more dex in here. Once I actually do a full respec, I will be going max block with this build, and then the rest of it, you're just going to dump into your vitality here. As for builds, I feel like you could comfortably level with this build as well. I didn't actually level with it. I leveled as Fire Trap until the Fire Trap as in the Wake of Fire until Act 4 Nightmare. And Act 4 Nightmare, I switched into Chain Lightning. And then I farmed gear in the Arcane Sanctuary Hell, and then eventually switched to Phoenix Strike. I think you could get away with the Phoenix Strike leveling, but you're going to need to be very careful with your attack rating, making sure you're still hitting stuff. If you're going to be leveling as this, you're going to be dumping your points into Fist and Fire as you go down the tree to get to your Phoenix Strike. For the actual build here, we're going to be maxing Phoenix Strike, Fist of Fire, Claws of Thunder, and Blades of Ice. Generally, what I would max it in the order is Phoenix Strike, Fist of Fire. You can go with Claws of Thunder or Blades of Ice as your secondary. I generally do Blades of Ice because I like to run Chaos Sanctuary, and I find Blades of Ice helps dispatch the Venom Lords faster than using a Phoenix Strike on them. So that's going to be up to you. For the 1-point wonders, we're going to have Dragonflight. Super helpful, especially for places like Arcane Sanctuary or the River of Flame. It's essentially just a ghetto teleport, has a 2-second cooldown, does require there to be a monster that you're targeting to teleport to. So keep that in mind. Highly recommend 1 point into Dragonflight, or you can try to get Dragonflight on a Claw, maybe on a swap, or if you don't have Bartux yet or something, get it on your main hand Claw, save you a point there. But it's only really 4 points, so you have enough to really try it if you want to. Under the Shadow, we're going to go 1 point all the way into the Shadow Master, just because I like having the little tank with me. And then 1 point down all the way to Venom, because why not? Seemed like a good idea at the time. Realistically, you could save points in Venom and Fade. If you don't want minions, you don't need anything in Shadow Warrior. You could put points in Mind Blast if you really want like a ranged stun or something like that. On Project D2, make sure you only put 1 point in if you want the stun and stuff like that. Once you start putting more points in, I believe the stun will go away. So you want to be careful of that. That could have changed. I believe that's how it worked in earlier versions. Once you have all of your martial arts maxed, if you want more attack rating and your more physical damage, you can go with your Claw and Dagger here. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing for mine. If you're not going to be using a Storm Shield and you want to dual wield Claws, you could dump them into Weapon Block as well. In the Trap Tree, we're just going to do 1 point all the way down to Blade Shield. You could get this on a Claw as well and save points if you'd rather do that. Just the 1 point in there does 1/4 of your weapon damage, which really isn't much, but a little bit of the help for 3 points. So that's what I would recommend for the skill points. You'll have plenty of points to get stuff maxed. I'm level 86, and as you can see, I only need 1 more point to get Claw of Thunder, and I'll have the main stuff maxed here. So pretty good there. As I said, this is not an end-to-end game build. This is not going to be the best build in the world that you can do. I'm sure there's way better ways of doing this. This is how I like to build it, and this is more of an early and mid-game setup currently. We're going to be using a Bartuk as your main hand weapon. You're going to try to get the 2 to martial arts on Project D2 here. It will roll 1 to 2. And then corruptions are nice. Getting plus sockets would be really nice because you can put facets in there or really whatever else you're wanting. I would like to get a couple sockets in here because I'm lacking in resistances currently. That's one of the things I'm currently struggling with this build. Trying to fix that with my charms and such down here. I'm rocking a Shaco here. It has a Magic Find corruption on it. Not necessary. Another really good slot for here would be like Akira's. Getting some minus resistances in there. I've seen some other, different things you can hear. But since I'm really trying to focus on the Magic Find, I went with the Shaco. Plus 2 skills is nice. For the amulet, we're just doing a basic 3 to martial arts. There are a lot of different options here. You can go with rare amulets to get, strength, resistance, skills, dex, all kinds of different stuff. Again, this is an early to mid-game build. Using a Sculptor's Ire, just because I really like pushing on that Magic Find. One of the next upgrades I'm probably going to do is Chains of Honor, just to fix my resistances here. Not entirely sure if that's the best use. I've also seen people using like Arcane's Valor. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but that'll give you, I think it's 2 skills and a bunch of vitality here as well. So you got different options here if you're really not trying to push for Magic Find. We're going to be using a Storm Shield for this to get all those nice little resistances and the physical damage reduction, plus the max block. This is a low roll. I just went with the cheapest one possible since I am on a budget. For the gloves, we're going to 2 to martial arts, 20% attack speed, 3% mana stolen because we needed mana leech at the time, and I like the Magic Find on it. Realistically, if your burst of speed's high enough, you might not need the enhanced attack speed on them. So what you're really going to want to do is use an IAS calculator and put in, whatever claw you have. So for these would be the Greater Talons, and then input your burst of speed level. So for current gear I have is 6, and this is letting me hit the highest breakpoint that I need. So you're going to use an IS calc to make sure you're hitting that with your current gear. We're going to be using a String of Ears for even more life leech here and the physical damage reduction. This didn't roll very well, but found it myself, so haven't bothered upgrading it. Raven Frost is pretty much going to be mandatory unless you can get Cannot Be Frozen somewhere else. Even then, you're getting dex and attack rating, which is super helpful, so it's not a bad ring to have. For the offhand, I'm actually really happy about this ring. Before this ring, I was just using a mana leech ring in here to get that mana leech, that way I didn't have to use potions. But this is a nice ring, dual leech. It has 2 different resistances and some Magic Find because I really enjoy that Magic Find. But the main thing here that I was looking for is that mana and life leech and resistances, because I am struggling with resistances on this build currently. For here, we're going to be going with War Traps. It's slammed with some cold resistance, which isn't bad. And unfortunately, when we found these, it was only a 31% Magic Find. But it is what it is. They work for now. We'll upgrade them in the future. For the charms, I got lucky and got this max damage, AR, life, so we're using that. The rest of these are going to be like life or resistances. I'm leaning more towards resistances, trying to fix it on the build here, because my resistances aren't great. For your charms, we're going to be using martial arts, grand charms the whole way across. I am missing a couple still working on getting those. And we are using a Geeds for that extra Magic Find. Realistically, these 2 charms are going to be martial arts charms, and then the third one, if you want the Geeds, use that. If not, you're going to go ahead with a martial arts grand charm here. Obviously, you're going to want Torch and Annie once you can afford those. However, they're pretty pricey on day 3 here, and I can't afford them. So, like I said, this is a nice little budget, early low mid game here. I am capable of doing tier 1 maps, so that is an option. However, Arcane Sanctuary has been really good for me. Currently on the swap, we're just using Burst of Speed and Venom Claws. And then this is just another Burst of Speed with Shadow Master. Just a little bit of a pre-buff claw here. Call to Arms would be nice to have here. Or you can get maybe some different claws that have, the Blade Shield. That way you're not wasting the 3 points. You can be creative here. We'll tighten that stuff up later once we start getting into the end game builds. So this is where I've been farming. It is hell. It is Arcane Sanctuary. And as you'll see, there's some core differences here between what a lot of you might be used to in D2R. All I'm doing with this build is holding down left click, which has Phoenix Strike. And it's casting all of that. You don't have to build up charges and then spend them anymore. So that's a really big change here. And really, you can just teleport through and do your little farming, whatever you want. Inside Arcane Sanctuary, you're pretty tanky. There's not really that much that'll kill you. Sometimes there's some specials that'll really mess you up a little bit. And don't forget to use your Dragonflight to close some of these gaps. That way you can get in there, it's real fun, and just cross over like that. Saves a lot of time with the portals, and we're actually going to get lucky, and it looks like Summoner is going to be right here, and we just got that level. Teleport on over, and as you see, the Summoner just goes down real easy. And of course he dropped nothing good. Maybe these will be good. Hey, we got the repairs durability, low faster run. If we could have got better resistances, maybe this would have been useful, but wasn't very good. And I'm not even going to worry about a Venom Ward. So that is the build. It is really fun. I highly recommend it. Like I said, this is not going to be the best build in the world. This is a Magic Find Phoenix Strike Assassin. Now, there are some differences that you could do. Like I said, this is what I did on day 3 of the ladder, so it's pretty early game. If you press 8 on your keyboard for Project D2, you open up this advanced stuff here. And as you can see, my faster hit recovery is low. Realistically, since I'm struggling with resistances, that's what I'm focusing on, but you're going to want to try to get this faster hit recovery up higher. On top of that, we're mostly staying alive with our Mana Leech and our Life Leech. The Mana Leech makes it so we're not using the Mana Potions. Life Leech is helping us stay alive by constantly leeching. Inside of Arcane Sanctuary, it's pretty rare that you're actually going to need to use potions. Depending on what maps you're doing and the mods on the maps, I've went from not needing potions to spamming juves. Some of them are really nasty. You know, you got ranged mobs doing like big physical damage. You're constantly cursed with amp. The nice thing with the build though is when there's big packs of those range mobs, you can Dragonflight right into there and just get in their faces and freeze. With the Phoenix Strike here, what's really nice is if you read the tooltip of it, the charge 3 is the Chaos Ice Bolt, which will a lot of the times freeze monsters solid. So realistically, once you get the freezes going, you're pretty set. What you have to be careful of is monsters that aren't getting hit when the ice shards are going out and getting frozen, especially if they're going to be some ranged monsters there. For the Mercenary, you have a couple different options actually. I really like the Blizzard Mercenary. It's the Act 3 Cold Mercenary. His gear is absolutely awful, but what we're doing here is we're using a Spirit Sword to get the +1 skill for him. Since he is a Paladin, he counts as a Paladin. He can wear the Paladin shield, get another +1 from the Spirit here. One thing that I wanted to test with, and I would have done this earlier, but by now I've already fixed my Mana Leech issues with my gear. I believe on Project D2 you can use a Scepter on him, and Scepters can have Insight. So if you're struggling with your mana, you could put an Insight Scepter on him and really get that going. His armor's a Heavenly Garb. Really doesn't do anything for him. I just haven't found anything better. Nice stuff here would be stuff to make him survive or plus skills. So Shaft Stop, stuff like that for survivability. Even like a Scald, anything with really plus all skills or plus cold skills. As long as it's not like plus cold sorcerer skills will be helpful. His helmet is a Blackthorn's face. Again, not really that good. You're looking for like plus skills or anything that's going to help him survive. Gloves, we're using the Blood Fists just for the 40 to life. Again, plus skills, anything like that. Snow Clash Battle Belt. I found this to be a really good belt for him because he did roll with the 2 cold skills. My understanding on the Project D2 that this will help his damage. His boots are just going to be the Inferno Strides for the run walk. And I believe Blaze will also unfreeze you now, so he also gets that. I haven't really noticed him frozen and then proccing Blaze to see if it removes it or not, so I'm not entirely sure how that mechanical interaction will work there. But realistically, you're just trying to make sure you're getting as many plus skills as you can and enough stats on here to make him beefy. Because if you notice, when you Dragonflight in, he's coming with you. He's going into melee range. He will be casting Ice Blast, which will freeze a single monster, Glacial Spike, which will do an AoE freeze, and Blizzard. He does pretty good damage. If you don't want to use this mercenary and you're looking for more of an end game build, Infinity should still really good. I would put Infinity on the Act 2 mercenary. If you're struggling, you can get the different auras on there. But Infinity should be the most damage I think you can get from the mercenary to increase your damage. But so far, he's working great. I teleport in, he'll maybe Glacial Spike and freeze the initial mobs, and then from there with the Phoenix Strikes, we'll get some more going. So he works pretty well. The build's really fun. I switched out of the traps, the chain lightning traps for this. I'm really enjoying myself so far. There's a lot of improvements that this build can go, but I think if you get gear similar to this, I think you'll really enjoy it. And it's really fun, especially if you're coming from D2R, because their martial arts assassins are kind of clunky trying to use them. And here, they did a really good job with it. Phoenix Strike's absolutely fun. It's probably not a top tier build, but if you're going to go on a fun factor, I have to rate it near the top. I absolutely love it. It's so fun. On top of that, you're not going to have to worry about immunities really, because you're hitting with 3 different types. You're hitting fire, lightning, cold. And on top of that, you're also doing a little bit of physical damage. I mean, the Bartoks have 118 to 218 damage here. And now that we have all of our stuff maxed here, we're going to be dropping points into Claw and Dagger. So you're getting critical strike, you're getting attack rating, and you're getting even more damage. So there's a lot going on here. It's a really fun build. I highly recommend it. I don't think you can go wrong with this build for an early to mid game. And I think you can scale this a lot higher once you start getting, more resources to dump into it. So that is the Magic Find early to mid game Phoenix Strike character. I hope you really like it. I love this character. It's really fun. As always, if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. I do try to answer all the comments, and I do try to stream every day, 5 to 7 p.m. East Coast time. Might be a little late or just cancel. I'm really bad at keeping a schedule, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if there's any questions, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.